Hey there, Instagram gorgeous women. Hey there, my gorgeous design divas on Facebook. It is so good to see you. It's so good to be here with you. I'm Donna Hoffman. They call me the interior design advocate because I advocate on behalf of design lovers everywhere to help you erase the ugly room, get rid of the disappointing result. And I do that with my amazing online courses that take you into the strategy of design, and I break it down to make it so easy. And the way I do that through my online courses is because I also run a luxury interior design company here in the Philadelphia region of the United States. And I just love what I do. Design is my right work. And a number of years ago now, I looked at my design team. I said, hey, I want to help more women. I have this idea for a project. We're going to do these great online courses. And I thought it would just be a project. Turns out it's a whole other brand. And we call that brand the Interior Design Advocate, as opposed to our luxury design company, which is called Interiors by Donna Hoffman, IDH. All right, so today we're taking a little bit of a turn, a little bit of a veer off onto a wonderful side street in design, because I get a lot of questions from you guys when you ask me about starting an interior design business or how to grow an interior design business that you have started that maybe isn't going the way you had hoped. I know what it is to start a design business during the worst of economic times. That's when I started my business back in the recession of '08. And I've only ever known a tough design industry. So I think that built a lot of muscle for me. So I'm a bit of a unicorn in that I'm a really good designer, but I'm also a really good businesswoman. And so I know how to harness the business of design and how to monetize creativity. And that's really what you're doing when you want to take your love of interior design and turn it into a paying side gig or a full-time business. And that is the topic we're speaking of today. What do you need to know if you want to take your love of interior design and turn it into a paying side gig or a full-time business? And interestingly, right now, with COVID happening, people didn't know when this horrible moment happened, how it's going to affect different industries. And the interior design and home furnishings industry is seeing more activity because people are spending more time at home and traveling a little bit less. So people are investing in their home more. So I think this is a timely moment to have this discussion. And if you have a question about the interior design industry or about your own business or about starting a business that you, or correcting a business that you've already started, feel free to type in that question, get it in early so I can get to your question. And I am going to ask that you put in questions that are on topic. So I won't be taking project questions today, okay? And I have posted in my comments section, link in bio for you guys, I have a fantastic, very in-depth checklist that I'm giving to you that I created for you on this topic. It's called the Interior Design Business Startup Checklist, and it also has a self-assessment in it to help you focus more on who you are and how you'll be in that journey and what would really work for you. So here are 3 pillars you really need to think about when you're starting an interior design company or growing one that you have recently started. The 3 pillars include the creative process, the business process, and the mindset process. So for the creative process, so you got the job, you got the client, now what? Now what? Right? What path do you go through time and time and time again, no matter what the project is, to make sure that you are taking this wonderful client who has entrusted you and is paying you a fee to design for her or him or them? What's the path that you're going to take them through? And you want that path to be a repeatable path. No matter what the project is, there are similarities to all design projects. Some might have extra arms and legs, like a big octopus, right? And some might have fewer. But all design projects have to track along a particular creative path. If you don't do that for yourself, you're going to feel like you're constantly reinventing the wheel. You're going to feel completely out of control with your business And you're also, I think I had eyelash in my eye last time we did one of these. You'll feel like you're chasing your tail, like you're completely without control, and you're going to be a nervous wreck. You're not going to sleep very well. So a creative path that is something that you can lean into, really good thing to do. Because the big difference in working on your own home, or even in a family member's home, versus working for a client, your clients expect you to show up and be excellent. And things have to move. Start, middle, end. Beginning, middle, end. There has to be a path. Otherwise, you will be relegated to that big pile of interior designers that aren't considered so terrific because clients think they're flake bombs, or they're too loopy and they don't know how to control a project, or they don't know how to do what they said they were going to do. So I cannot stress enough for you the importance of creative path. And if we have time later, I'll tell you an interesting story about how I personally made some of these discoveries. So if you're looking to start an interior design company or a paying side gig, you have to make sure that you have a really clean, clear path. So that brings me to the next pillar. If creative path is one pillar, it'll make your life so much easier and make your clients love you more. The second pillar is business path and business processes. What do I mean by that? Well, there are a lot of things you need to iron out for yourself. What is your business model? What is your offer? How are you different than the design lover down the street who wants to own her own design company? What's your point of difference? What is that unique perspective that you bring? Where do you want to focus on things? What is your business model? What do you provide? Are you just service and intellectual property and consulting? Are you just that and product? And if so, what is the product you're selling? You don't necessarily have to sell every product. You can decide what you are going to offer if you are doing some sort of product. And then you also need to determine these itty-bitty things. What kind of business entity are you? It sounds itty-bitty because it's the boring stuff. It's not playing in the fabric books that you see back there. What kind of business entity are you? What's the name of your company? What's the future of your company? Based upon the future of your company, you may not want to pick a name like Interiors by Donna Hoffman. I regret that name, I will be honest with you. I see other names that would have been better for me given the business model that I follow and what I've ultimately become as a business. Can you change your name and morph your name midstream? You can, but it's a pain in the neck. A lot of paperwork with legal documents and accountants and registrations and licenses and all this other sales tax licenses. A lot goes into it, right? So get your name right first, based upon the kind of business entity you want to be and what kind of company you want to be. What do you want to grow into? What do you want to earn? You got to answer that question too, right? You have to measure something's success, you need to put something hard down, something concrete down as well. So also as part of the business process, how do you charge? What are you charging? I mean, you're not doing this as a hobby. You're doing this as a for-profit business. Now, you might do some tithing. You might have a particular love for a nonprofit or maybe a religious organization. You want to tithe to them. That's wonderful. I encourage it. We do it. But we're also a for-profit business. We are a business. I've got people to pay and overhead to pay and insurance to pay, right? So all of the business model stuff is thick. And they do not teach it to you in design school. So you get out of design school kind of like, now what? And then beyond that, as if that isn't enough, creative process is one pillar, business process and path is another pillar. The third is mindset. Oh my gosh, it's big. Being a business owner, you can get something that I call lonely leader syndrome, right? It's scary. And having either a community or a teacher or a plus one or a business partner that you can lean into or lean on for things like confidence building, working on resilience, feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Wasn't that a book back when I wasn't really reading those kinds of books? But seriously, feeling nervous and going on ahead and doing it anyway. So, and it's not just about being nervous in the business side. You're going to be so thrilled and proud the first time you land that first design job, and then the terror is going to set in on that first job. You're going to think, okay, I know I can do it. And I knew I could do it when I told this client I could do it. Now I got to do it. Now I got to really come through with it. I remember how proud I felt the first time I got my entry badge for the Philadelphia Design Center. And I got the badge to enter the building, and all the other designers just threw theirs into their work bag and proceeded into the building. Not me. I hung it on a lanyard, and I'd wear it all around the building because at first people didn't know me in the building, and I wanted them to know I was a member of the trade. I hadn't snuck in there as a member of the public, which people sometimes try to do. And I just felt so proud to have attained that, to have achieved that. So how do you build your confidence? You build your confidence by making sure you have the training that you believe you need. And I think also mindset work is important. I was talking to a mentor of mine. She said, you know, I think the word mindset is very overrated and overused. It is used a lot, but I don't know what else to call it. Maybe heart set and soul set is a better term. I don't know. But you know what I'm talking about, right? When you have to build that inner muscle to be able to believe in yourself enough to go forward and to do it. So can you take your love of interior design and turn it into a profitable side gig? I believe you can. I think you got to thread the needle and know what you're doing. Can you take your love of interior design and turn it into a profitable side gig so that you then blow it up into a full-time business? Yeah, I think you can do that too. You have to be strategic and know what your plan is. And then can you take your love of interior design and turn it into a full-time business? You can. But all those pillars, they need to all be fed and fueled. Creative process and path, business process, which also includes marketing. Where do you get your clients? How do you keep your clients thrilled? How do you turn them into raving fans? And then mindset. So I've got this wonderful checklist that allows you to see the basics that you absolutely have to handle. You have to work on. Which link isn't working? Facebook? Oh, the checklist link isn't working. Oh dear. I am so sorry about that. We're working on how to fix that. That is bad. So we will get that fixed, and I promise you we will repost the corrected link here in the replay. So you'll have to check YouTube unless Steve can get it corrected now while I'm on with you now. Okay. It's a great checklist. It's not like a little dinky checklist. It's a few dozen, moments of or points that you have to really that take you into. So it's a great checklist. So why do I want you to have this checklist? For two reasons. I want you to have this checklist because it will help you. I want you to have this checklist because I want to know if that is part of a journey that's important to you. I get so many requests from people saying, would you do something? Would you start a program where you're helping us on this very thing? Because so much of what you've been doing has been geared toward design lovers helping us design our own home. Would you help young design business owners? And by young, I don't mean that you're young in years. You might be, but you might be young in the industry, second career, either for people who started the business or are thinking of starting it. And we are talking about doing something like that for you here. And so I want to stay in touch with you. If I know that this is something of interest to you, you want to be on my mailing list in this particular topic category. Whether we roll out with the full program we've talked about or a piece of it to give people what they're really looking for, and a smaller dose until we can do the larger dose. Because as I said when I started this live, I also run a luxury interior design company, and I am the lead designer here, and we have a big design load. I'm grateful for it, knock wood, knock something. So it's just a question of bandwidth and being able to get it out there to you. So the purpose of this checklist was to give you something really meaningful and for us to also get into each other's email inboxes. So once we get that link corrected and posted for you, make sure if you don't get something from me right away, check your spam folder or your junk email, because so often that will grab a piece of free content, especially a big piece, and this is a big piece of free content, or your spam filter is just catching everything because it's just so cool, so groovy cool. So that's what I've got for you. If you have a question to ask me, if you want me to go more deeply into something, I am happy to do it. In the meantime, let me tell you what we're talking about next week. We're not, because I am going down to the High Point Furniture Market next week with Katie. and we have so many appointments. Usually the furniture market is a week long. You can really dive in. Because of COVID, they've sectioned it down into 3-day spurts. So I have a ton of appointments that just run all day, all night that I've got to get to. So what we're going to do is tell you, definitely keep track of us on both of our Insta feeds, okay? Not only at decorating.genius, which is the interior design advocate feed, but you definitely want to pay attention to this feed as well, at IDH Designs. At IDH Designs is for our luxury design company, and I will be posting what we're finding, trend reporting, showing you the newest, the latest, and the greatest, okay? And if I can, hop on and do a quick live at some point, I don't know what time or when, we'll do that for you too, okay? So let me see who's out there, see who's asking questions, and I'll start taking them. All right, so hello to everybody on Insta. I got a gajillion waves, so it's all great to see you girls. We have all kinds of peeps on Facebook. Okay, we've got Claudette and Ruth and Jamie saying hi to Katie, Donna's hubby, and the design team from Jamie. Thank you, Jamie. Sandra is saying, can you explain how you bill and charge clients? Sure. Okay, so there are different models you can handle or use. So in terms of how you charge your client, different regions of the country have different pricing structures. A designer in Philadelphia might cost more than a designer in a rural area in Pennsylvania. A designer in New York might cost more than a designer in Dayton, Ohio, or a designer in Los Angeles might cost more than a designer in Waco, Texas, right? So the city you're in, city, suburb, definitely can affect where the rates are. Hourly rates range in the country between $85 an hour up to $350 an hour. What? Big spread. I find that the women charging $85 an hour can't really get their practices off the ground. You need to decide. You need to decide, and hear me on this, and do not be insulted. I'm going to use a term that I have heard builders use. I didn't make it up. But builders have said about designers who they don't think are very good. They will say she's a housewife with a hobby. She's not a real designer who knows what she's doing. You don't want to be that dilettante. So if you know what you're doing, you should be able to charge a fair market value. You might want to call around in your area and find out, what are people charging, so that you can say, hey, where do I want to place myself in this, right? Figure out what's the average in your area. Maybe when you're starting, you want to be slightly below that average or right on par with the average, or maybe you feel you want to be slightly above that average. You'll decide. So once you have your hourly rate decided upon, and I will say that 85 to 350, it's a big spread. The 350, those are those like major designers who have, you know, national and international reputations. The national average seems to be hovering still somewhere around that 100 in the United States, seems to be hovering somewhere in and around that $150 an hour range, approximate, okay? So you'll do some research on that, Sandra. And then from there you decide, are you selling product? And if you are selling product, what is that product that you're selling? In terms of what do you charge your client for? I used to feel guilty when I first started charging clients, and then I said, you know what? If I'm spending time working on behalf of a client instead of being out in my garden relaxing or playing with my children back in the day when they were still living at home and playing on the swing set, if I'm working on behalf of my client, I should be charging them for it. So yeah, communication with the client, that's a charge. Designing, sourcing, meeting with them, expedition, that's all part of the service. Now, I just spoke to somebody today who I don't think should hire a designer, and I said, you know, the thing you have to remember is hiring a designer is a hit to the bottom line. And if you are looking for the lowest cost way to land your project, you may want to just do it yourself, because designers are a line item to the budget. Who hires designers? People who hire designers recognize, I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they recognize that what they want to accomplish in their residence, they either don't have the skill set to do on their own, they don't have the time to do on their own, they don't have the resources, meaning knowing which manufacturers, which workrooms will get it for that, get the look. So they don't have the time, the resources, the skill set, or they want something that only they feel a designer can bring that they can't create for themselves, okay? So generally speaking, the people hiring designers are not the people who are looking to to land their project at the lowest possible price. That said, design clients want excellent value, and they do want to know that their resources are being well managed and respected. They don't want to feel like they're being gouged or taken advantage of. Remember, I told you, excellent creative process, excellent business process. That's about giving your clients more value than what they're even investing in you for, right? So I hope I've answered you there, Sandra. If you have a more specific question, feel free to put it in. Okay, Angela Culbert is saying, can you show us the portfolio you would bring to your first client meeting? Angela, I could show it to you. I just can't show it to you right now. Here's what I want you to say. Because I don't get visual in these meetings, in these Facebook Lives. Why don't I get visual in these Facebook Lives? Because I'm a pill? Because I'm a pain in the fabric bolt? No, I'm busy. I get very visual in my online courses and my free workshops. But these are conversations in these Facebook Lives. So Angela, I definitely want you to get that checklist when we correct our link. I am so sorry. I can't believe after all the planning we've done and making this amazing checklist for you, I can't believe we fumbled right before the, whatever the football analogy is. I know ballet more than I know football. I know we screwed up not having that working link. So thank you for your patience. But Angela, definitely get that, because once we do start to offer a meaty course for you in this, I want you guys to be one of the first to know about it. Okay, be a little bit of a wait on it, but there it is. So what would without being able to show you what I would bring your best work. Bring your best work. And if you're just starting out, you can do vignettes of things. You can do your friend's home or your mom's home or your daughter's home and get in there and photograph it. Ideally, you want to have it professionally photographed until you can. Get the best iPhone version, the latest and greatest. Steve, what is the latest and greatest right now in iPhones? 11. We don't know. The 11? I don't know what I have. I have this thing that's too darn big, and it doesn't fit into your pocket well, but it takes good pictures. And there are ways to override your iris, I think it's the thing that lets the light in, so that you can brighten your image as you're taking it. So there are things you can do, Angela, to increase the yumminess of your online, the photos you'd be taking on your own. But there is an art to everything, including taking a good-looking interior image. That I would love to be able to teach that to you, but I need to take my iPhone back and have you standing over my shoulder so I could show you things. So, if you don't have work yet, you can show mood boards that you put together, one or two of those. You can do a couple of interiors that you've done, a couple of vignettes that you've done as well. So hopefully that helps you, Angela, and be prepared to talk about your process, how great your processes are, and what a client can expect in working with you. So great question, Angela. Hope I've been able to help you there. Okie dokie. Cindy is saying, do you need a degree or certification for clients to hire you? Cindy, that's a great question. You do not want to be a dilettante. Designers can get sued if they screw up a job. If a designer goes in and promises that she or he can do something that they cannot do. I know of an area designer here practicing in our area who was sued a couple of years ago on a big project. She was in way over her head, did not have the skill set to do what she said that she was going to do, and this client was pissed. The client was mad. And I don't know the ins and outs of what happened. There are three sides to every story, right? Maybe the client was a difficult client too. I don't know. So you want to have the training that you feel will enable you to do what you need to do. If you're a nervous wreck because you don't feel like you know how to do what you want to do and need to do, then get more training. There are practicing designers today who have certifications. There are practicing designers today who have 2-year post-baccalaureate degrees, meaning they went back to school after the fact. There are designers practicing today who have 4-year degrees. There are designers practicing today who have master's degrees. I will tell you, and please, if you're from the ASID, the IDS, or the IFDA, don't throw darts at my picture when I say this. I have interviewed and not hired, I have fired designers who had impeccable degrees, who weren't very good. So just because somebody has the lettering and the degrees does not mean that they're excellent. You do need some inherent talent, and you need some excellent training as well. Okay, so I hope I answered you well, but there are a couple of ways to do this. And sitting presidents have actually hired designers in the White House who did not have interior design degrees. That said, do not be a dilettante. Do not tell somebody, yeah, I can help you, do your kitchen, design a kitchen, if you are fresh out of the gate and you don't know what you're doing. You have to make sure that you're taking on projects where you can deliver. I hope hope that I've all respectfully submitted. So, Diva Style Fashion is saying, hi, I've just completed an interior design something last Thursday and wanted to get you to view the photosynthesis. How can I send photos? The photosynthesis. That is a plant term. I remember that in 4th grade. Photosynthesis is what the leaves on a plant do to convert sunshine into energy. So you want me to look at your portfolio? So if you are in a private group of mine, if you're one of my students, you can definitely post pictures in the private group, and somebody from our team, and it might be me, can chime in and take a look at what you're doing. But you can also, I would love to do a private, coaching session with you to really look at your work. That would be to get more out of it, because I could really critique you and so forth. I'm not offering private coaching at this time. But get that checklist so I know that you are on the list, Diva Style Fashion. So I know that this is a topic that, you want to hear from me on, and vice versa. Okay. But again, if you're in one of my private groups, you got an in right there. Okay. To post for the group. Okay. Great question. Ruth is saying your gracious link is showing page not found. I know, we're working on it. Sorry, Ruth. I'm sorry. Yikes. Jamie is saying this is great and also applies to all business launch strategies. Yes, it does, Jamie. I got to tell you, running this business, this is the second business I've run. And definitely having started another business in a totally different industry definitely helped. The business of business helps. Jerry is saying, what is the difference between interior design and interior decorating? Jerry, I love that question. I have to tell you, I'm going to give you my goofy answer first, Jerry. I was teasing one of my clients a bunch of years ago, great guy, great couple actually, and Paul was telling, no, that wasn't Paul, it was Vince. Vince was telling a story to me about his friends in Chicago saying, have you built that house over in, Doylestown yet? What's the story? And he said, no, we're still waiting to get it all decorated because I had to wait for the area's best decorator. And he made a joke and he told me this story. And I said, tell you what, Vince, I said, when you're really happy with me, you can call me your interior decorator. When you're mad at me, when you're really happy with me, call me your interior designer. When you're mad at me, call me your decorator. So here's what I'm going to tell you. The difference, it's like a hair's breadth. An interior decorator is considered somebody who I think is somebody who can be taken not as seriously in the industry. That's just my perspective. But they're generally more in terms of just lighter decorative design. An interior designer is somebody who that title indicates you've got some skill set and some chops beneath you, underneath you, and that you can handle things like space planning, and you know how to put together a space that is safe for somebody to walk through and be in. But interior decorators do the same thing. I think it's sort of hair splitting. I interchange the words interior decorating and interior design all the time. And the great architect Frank Lloyd Wright, there was a decorator, she called herself a decorator, that he did not care for. And he used to call her the interior desecrator. Famous decorator too. So I think it's a hair splitting term at this point, but anybody who has a design degree definitely calls themselves an interior designer. I call myself an interior designer. Okay, so if that helps you at all. Okay, so Marcia would love the checklist. I would love for you to have the checklist. Steve-O, anything happening on the checklist? Not yet, but we're working on it. I promise we'll get this resolved for you. And apologies, apologies, apologies. Terry is saying, thank you for this topic. Terry, girlfriend, you're welcome. Abby's saying, how do you search for a job as an interior designer when you're a beginner? Hey, Abby, we just hired somebody in our interior design company. We wanted somebody who was a junior designer, and we got a ton of resumes, and some of the women that wanted to work for me, and men, they were too advanced. So different companies, depends on what position they're trying to fill. Being a beginner is a fine thing. Where did we advertise, Steve?
Craigslist.
Craigslist?
Indeed.
Indeed. We got some good resumes on Indeed. And the other thing I would do, and the person we ended up hiring, Jasmine, wrote a fantastic cover letter, and had a great a resume. And she sent it out. She wanted to work for design companies somewhere in this geographic region, I think within a 50-mile radius. And she just peppered the area with, she just looked at people's stuff online and she peppered the area with resumes. Can I tell you, we did a full search. We ended up hiring this wonderful person, Jasmine Lanigan, and she caught my eye 4 months ago. I wasn't hiring at the time, and then things continued to move in a direction where we thought, oh, you know what, we better go back into our hiring mode. So you never know. You never know. So Abby, do both those things. Check those, check the ads, check with societies that you might belong to, the Interior Design Society, ASID, if you belong there, the IFDA, so see what they have on their job message boards, and hopefully, and Indeed, I thought was really terrific. There it is. Okay, so let's see now. Norma is saying, hello, Donna and all. I took Maria Killam's 3-day color training. Have you taken all, and have taken all your courses? I follow you, Maria, the decorologist, Laurel Burns. I've helped friends and done a little paid work, but I have no formal training, so it scares me from a liability perspective to charge clients for my advice. How much do attorney fees cost to set up a part-time business for this type of work? All right, Norma, not as much as you think. And I would definitely speak to an attorney. I'd also make sure you have insurance, something that's important to have. And listen, if you don't want to call yourself an interior designer or an interior decorator, call yourself, this is the $1 million thing I'm giving you right now. You ready? Call yourself an interior design consultant. An interior design consultant. Call yourself that. And then as you get your chops and as you get used to, I give this energy, I get this money back as a form of repayment for that energy. Norma, as you can start to do that, you're going to go, oh yeah, I do know more than my clients. Yeah, I'm doing really good work. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. I wouldn't change that. Yeah, that's good. And you'll start to develop your chops, and then maybe you'll change your business card to say interior designer. Okay? How's that there, Norma? Give me a little love on that. Oh, photosynthesis was spell checked. It should have been photos. You know what? I have gotten spell checks. Sometimes I almost texted somebody. Thank heavens I stopped. I realized I had been spell checked. I got spell checked into a very dirty, not nice word to say to anybody, let alone somebody in the business context. Thank heavens I stopped and looked at my spell check. So you're very welcome for that information, diva style fashion. No problem. No problem there at all. Okay. So Norma wants a checklist too. I know, we're having a little technical problem. Sorry. Hey, we're real here. We keep it real. I don't want you to think we're so perfect. We have to screw things up a little bit, right? Oh, is that the new link, Steve? Does that work? Oh, Steve's saying the link is down. We'll get it fixed. Is this the right thing? That's the right link. It's not working. Oh, it's not working. So ignore everything in the feed right now. Hello from Dallas. Hello, Julia. Okay, I'm getting more hellos. Tijuana Fennel is saying hello. Okay, so Jamie agrees you have to price according to, I wouldn't price according to the client. You price based upon the job, not by the client. You need to have a fee structure, and you need to know what type of, what's the scope. Have you guys, you know what the word SOW is? Scope of work. It's a list of what has to happen on the project. That has to be commensurate with the fee. If a client's fee is here, really big, but their scope is even bigger from here to here, won't work, right? So you want to make sure your client's scope of work is commensurate, equal to their fee, so that you can accomplish and deliver what they want you to accomplish and deliver. So, yeah, and you need to see somebody's project before you can really bid it, I think. Marcia said, what do you need to do to become a designer or to become a stager? Well, I know there are some really great online courses in staging. I think that's what the decorologist does. And for design, you can study, you can get a certification with the college. Those are usually 1 to 2 year programs. You can do a post-baccalaureate degree. You can do a 4-year degree if you're just starting out in life. 2 last questions Steve Hoffman is telling me. Okay, so as I start to look into these guys, next week we cannot do a Facebook Live at 4:30 Eastern. Every Tuesday we're always here, except we're at the High Point and Hickory Furniture Market. and I have appointments scheduled for that time. So we'll pop on and video. We'll watch my stories at the IDH Designs feed. You'll see what we're up to. I'll pop on. I'll give you little notes and lessons and so forth. And I'll try to do that on the Interior Design Advocate feed also. If I'm going to lean more heavily into one feed, it might be the IDH feed, just because posting video from back and forth from both feeds might be hectic given our schedule. Katie and I are going to need roller skates to get through everything that we're doing down there. And we're wearing masks. It's going to make me grabby because I can't breathe very long when I'm in those masks, but I do it. Okay, Jamie is saying, trust me, I do not take on a project and think, I don't really know how to do this, but I'll figure it out. Oh no, Jamie, I didn't mean to imply that you would. You shouldn't. And knowing you as I do as one of my students, I don't think that you would. That was a general note to people in general. And you know, to anybody watching. Here's the thing. Here's the what, the paradox, the weirdness about this whole thing. I had a great teacher say to me, you should be nervous at the beginning of every project. You should know you can do the project when you're talking to the client as a potential project, and then you take it on. And then as soon as you're about to start the project, there should be this little moment where you go, what am I going to do? And then you start, and then it's there. And she said, the reason I'm telling you that you should be slightly nervous at the start of every project is because you should keep stretching yourself as a designer. Keep growing yourself so you're not doing the same thing over and over and over. You'll get bored to tears. Take on things that have a slightly different vibe than you've done before, or a different size, or they need it in a different timeline, or you're working with a new builder, or you're working in a new neighborhood, or you're doing more, more rooms than you've done in a single shot. Maybe you start out doing single room projects and then you do multi-room projects. So Jamie, have you feeling a little bit of stretch? That's going to keep happening throughout your lifetime as a designer. That's part of the thrill. And the fact that no two projects are alike. But yes, it's important as any professional. I remember hiring a guy to refinish floors for a client, and he promised us he knew how to redo the staircase and the balustrade, you know, that the railing and the spindles. He did not know how to do the staircase. And it was a flippin' disaster. My client was in tears. Here was a person who wanted to do it, and we believed him when he said he could do it. So I just give that as a general thing. Norma on Facebook is saying, how do we become one of your students? Okay, go to my webpage for theinteriordesignadvocate.com. That's theinteriordesignadvocate.com. Go to the tab that says Learn Online Design or Learn Design Online. And then look at my courses. They are wonderful and people love them and they make a huge difference. And we do have young designers or people who are young in the design industry taking my courses because there's path in them. And there are things that when I have new designers start in my company, they have to go through those courses because I want them to understand our processes, our path. So is it enough for you to just go hang a shingle, become a designer? No, I wouldn't. I would want you to get more training, or I want to put together more advanced trainings for you. But it's a great place to start. And if you read about the courses in that tab, Learn Design Online, something like that, go to our blog. As I've said in all of our Facebook Lives this year, we have a coupon that we're keeping current through COVID. It's 20% off one of my courses, any one of my courses. So really want to try to help you. And we know a lot of people are, wanting to have more support in design, whether you're working on your own home or whether you want to be on my radar for other support that we'll be offering. The link is fixed. Hey, that's exciting. The link for the checklist is fixed. Kaboom. So we have the link posted. Steve, is it right in the write-up that I did too at the top of the page?
It cuts off.
It cuts off. So here's what it is. Inside the feed, guys, we posted it. It's theinteriordesignadvocate.com/startup.
It's start-up.
Oh, start-up. Sorry. theinteriordesignadvocate.com/start-up. Start-up if you want that free checklist. Okay. Jamie, no, I already talked to Jamie. Jamie, hugs and kisses. Hope you're cool there. Sandra is saying, is there a guide for what percentage of the budget the design service and markup charges should be? That's a big question. Is there a guide? Not really. It depends. It depends on the project. Some people say 20%. I think that can be high in some cases, low in others. It can be 10 to 15%. It depends upon how big you're working on a several $1 million project. Are you working on a $10,000 project? So Sandra, I have a hard time telling you a fixed answer on that, but the important thing is to know, if you hear a designer say, oh, I took on a $20,000 project, that doesn't mean that's her fee. That means that's purchasing and her fee. So Carol is saying, would a bachelor in fashion and textile management transfer to design for a talented young woman out of fashion work due to COVID? Carol, it's interesting that you're saying this, and again, I might get in trouble for saying this. So let me take a little sip of water, strengthen myself. Hang on. So strong now. Yeah, so the one industry where I have seen people take off into successful careers where they have not pursued, where they've pursued design training but not necessarily a certification, would be people who came out of the fashion world. There was a sitting president who hired a designer who was a former fashion guy, who then pursued interior design training, but he never went to a formal certification. I think if that's who you are, listen, think of all the people who studied with your kid's piano teacher. Like, there are kids who are really good, kids who are pretty good, and then the kid who's like, this kid really wants to be on the soccer field, not playing piano. And then there's that one kid who's Mozart, who could, oh my gosh, is that kid really 7 and playing like that? So yeah, there are Mozarts out there in the world, in every industry. So I think if you're the Mozart, sure. Or you can be just uber talented and come out of the fashion design industry or the textile design industry. And I've seen people launch into good businesses in design, with that as your background. But I would definitely add courses, whether it's, some of my courses or elsewhere, if that's who you are. You just don't. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got was from a design mentor of mine when I knew I wanted to stop doing what I was doing in television, shopping online. I was an on-air host at QVC for a number of years, and I was in my own business doing that. She said, Donna, you don't want to be a dilettante. You want people to take you seriously, and you want to know you've got the chops to do what you need to do. Get training. Make sure you know what you're doing. And I did. It wasn't what I wanted to hear at the time. I wanted somebody to tell me, oh yeah, just start. Just, what the heck. You're good with design. You have a knack, right? I have a knack for design. I'll just hang a shingle. That doesn't always end well. Unless you've been working in and around fashion textile. You might have more of the fashion merchandising, with a little bit of extra stuff on the side. And again, if the president of the ASID is watching now, she would come smack me around a little bit. Okay, so Julia is saying, do you need a degree or would your course be enough to start a business? Julia, I would want you to take my courses to get an idea of what it is you're in for, what you need to do, but I do not promote my courses as being enough to tell you, yeah, go start your business based upon these courses. My courses are directed to design lovers working on your own home. There's nothing in them about how to work with the public, nothing in them about more super advanced design strategy. I've thought about adding that for my design divas, my design lovers. So I think that what we hear about our courses is that they're a great supplement to what people are learning, and that we teach things that aren't taught in the same way in design programs that they have taken. So they are liking our deep dive into window treatments, our deep dive just into accessorization, or our total project path, and the way I teach something called the design fingerprint. Brilliant to use with clients. Oh my gosh, brilliant. So hope I helped you there. I've got to go. So Sharon is saying have fun in High Point. And I think I've pretty much got all of you in there. Okay, girls, listen. And guy, one guy, maybe there's one guy there with us. I've got to buzz out of here. I got to bolt. Got to bounce. Next week, we will be at the High Point Furniture Market. So definitely won't do anything 4 p.m. Eastern, but you can see our feed. And then when we're back, in the 2 weeks, we are going to be talking about the insider scoop on the home furnishings industry. Have you ever felt screwed? Boy, that'll be perfect after High Point, right? The insider scoop on the home furnishings industry. Have you ever felt screwed? So there it is. Loves, it was great seeing you. It was great answering your questions. Remember, check out our feed at IDH Designs. That's at IDH Designs for our Insta feed if you want to see what we're doing at market next week. And if you're not already following us at our teaching brand at Decorating.Genius, you're missing the party. You're missing both parties. So there it is. All right, guys, gotta go. Great seeing you. Big hug to everybody. Bye now. Hi, this is Donna. Thanks so much for watching. And if you liked this video, please hit the like button and comment below so I know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to the Interior Design Advocates channel so you don't miss any of our great content.